Hey guys, welcome back to MovieRecalls. Today I'm gonna show you a horror, mystery and thriller movie from 2014, titled It Follows. Before I start, warning. Spoilers ahead. The film begins with a girl runs out of a house and she goes further down the street. The door is heard to be open behind her again, but nothing can be seen. The second time the door is heard opening in the distance, the girl's father comes out of the house and she says she's fine. She makes a full circle around something and runs back to the house just to run out again and drive off in the car. The girl drives to the beach. Her dad calls her and she picks up saying that she loves him and her mom, almost saying goodbye to them, apologizing for being bad with them sometimes. She looks off into the distance towards the car. The girl is seen dead on the beach the following dawn. The next day a girl is seen preparing her pool. Jay relaxes in the pool and looks at the creatures in the yard when her sister Kelly shows up and greets her, then tells Jay that their friends are at their house ready to watch a movie. She says that she can't because she has a date with someone she likes. When Jay walks back inside, she finds her sister and their friends already watching an old-timey movie. Jay asks Yara what she's reading, and she tells her that she's reading The Idiot, then comments that it's about Paul. Later, Jay gets ready for her date, putting on her boots, then some lipstick, and looking at herself in the mirror. She and her date are in line to get tickets for the cinema. They play a hypothetical game where he has to pick someone from the people around them to change place with. Jay has to turns to guess the right one. Once they get inside, she says that it's probably a guy talking to a girl. Hugh tells her that he picked the kid because he wonders how great it would be to have his whole life in front of him. They joke about the types of freedom kids that age have, unlike adults. In the movie theater, she says it's her turn and picks someone. Hugh tries to guess and points to his first guess, but Jay doesn't see anyone there. She thinks he's teasing her, but he gets scared and asks her to get back to the car. Jay doesn't understand what's going on, so he tells her that he just felt sick and he wanted to go outside. They have dinner, and someone is seen walking toward the window where they are sitting. Kelly and Jay take a walk the following day so Kelly can have a cigarette. Jay tells her that their mom already knows, but her sister doesn't want her to actually see her. She tells Kelly about her date and how weird Hugh was behaving. As they get closer to their home, they see their neighbor Greg washing his car. Jay has another date with Hugh. They kiss at the beach and then they make love in his car. After, he gets out of the car to get something from the trunk as the girl is telling him about her daydreams. He comes back inside the car and he puts her to sleep with chloroform. Later, Jay wakes up, restrained to a chair with Hugh patrolling behind her with a flashlight. As soon as he notices that she's awake, he apologizes to her and says that he won't hurt her. Jay is confused about what is happening to her as Hugh tells her that she won't believe him. But she needs to remember what he says nevertheless. He explains that he passed a thing on to her that was passed to him. It will follow her. It could look like someone she knows or a stranger. It could look like anyone, just to get close to her, but there is only one of it. Jay screams for help, but Hugh keeps lamenting about this creature that follows. He suddenly sees it and he wheels Jay toward the light. A naked woman shows up and sees them. Hugh tells her that she can get rid of it by sleeping with someone so she could pass it along, and if it kills her, it will come after him. Jay doesn't understand. The woman keeps approaching Jay. The girl freaks out, so Hugh wheels her away and tells her never to go anyplace that has only one exit. The thing might be slow though it isn't dumb. They get to the car and drive off. Meanwhile, Kelly, Paul, and Yara are playing cards on the porch and drinking. Kelly tells them that her sister is on a date with someone new, and neither of them is surprised. Suddenly, Hugh arrives and parks the car. He gets Jay out and leaves her on the road, telling her not to let it touch her as he drives away. Jay stumbles on her way to the house and the others run toward her. Greg hears an ambulance outside and looks through the window. Jay is talking to a police officer asking if it was consensual and she replies that it was. She tells the officer that she had never seen the woman before or been to Hugh's house, even though she knew where it was. Later, she's in a hospital while the police investigate the scene where it all played out. The next day, Jay's mom talks with Greg's mom about what happened, telling her that what most upset her was what Hugh had told her. Jay is in the bathroom checking herself when suddenly someone throws a ball at her window, but no one is there. A little neighbor kid is hiding under her window, peeping. Later, Leigh is in school listening to a lecture when she sees something strange outside. An old woman in a nightgown is approaching the window and no one seems to notice her. Greg can tell that the girl is upset as he watches her leave the classroom. Jay walks through the hallway and sees the old woman following her, then says hello to her, but the girl behind the woman greets her back. She runs out of the school and drives to a diner where Kelly and Paul work. Jay tells them about the old woman and what Hugh had told her about something that will follow her. Paul asks her what exactly is supposed to be following her, but she doesn't know. Kelly thinks that she should tell their mom about what happened in school. Paul suggests that he should stay over at their place that night so he could make sure Jay is safe, an idea that Kelly dislikes, but Jay thinks it might help. The girls get ready for bed, along with Yara. Paul is watching old sci-fi movies on TV in the living room. Yara sleeps in Kelly's room and their mom is passed out in her bedroom. Jay comes downstairs because she can't sleep and Paul tells her to sleep next to him on the couch. He says that he likes spending time with her again because they haven't done that since they were kids. They reminisce about their childhood doing stupid things. Suddenly, a window breaks in the kitchen and Paul gets up to see what it is. He comes back and says that there's no one there, then goes to wake Kelly up to call the police. Jay goes over to see if there is anyone there. As she walks inside the kitchen, she sees a half-naked woman coming toward her. Jay screams and runs to her bedroom, locking herself inside. Kelly and Paul knock on the door and she tells them that she saw it in the house. They beg her to open the door because they see nothing out there. The two of them come in and she begins to freak out, asking if there's something wrong with her. Kelly comforts Jay by telling her that she's okay. Suddenly there's another knock on the door and they think it's their mom. Paul grabs a broom and they go to open the door with Yara telling them that it's just her. They tell her that everything is fine, but a man shows up behind Yara and enters the room with her as Jay escapes through the balcony. Greg is with a girl in his driveway and he sees Jay escape on her bike. Paul follows her out. She arrives at a playground and sits at a swing waiting for it to follow her there too. As she swings, she sees something in the distance, then realizes that it's her sister and friends. They run to each other and meet halfway. The three of them are really worried about her, and all of them are scared. Jay begs Kelly not to tell their mom. Suddenly, Greg shows up at the playground and Jay asks the rest if they can see him. Fortunately, they do. He asks them if everything is alright, and they tell him that someone broke into the house, but that they won't call the police. Jay doesn't want to go back. She wants to find Hugh. Greg asks her what he did to her, but when she doesn't answer, he turns around and tells them that he'll get his car to drive them. The five of them ride around the city, not stopping for a beat and watching the urban decay creep onto the facades and the streets as the mysterious force comes ever closer, following Jay and trying to get to her. They finally arrive at an abandoned home that Hugh told Jay was his and they go inside to look for clues on where to find him. The place is an absolute ruin of a house as they discover slowly covering its every inch. Paul finds a bed in the attic and flips through some dirty magazines when Jay walks into the room and looks out the window. She sees someone outside and gets scared, but Paul calls her over when he finds a picture of Hugh and diverts her attention. They recognize the marking on the school jacket the girl in the photo is wearing and think that that's where they should look for him next. Later, Jay and Greg walk into the school to get the information they need. They find out who Hugh really is, then come back to the car where the rest are waiting for them. His real name is Jeff. Kelly asks if they should tell the police, but Jay wants to confront him, so Greg drives them to his house. When they arrive, Jay knocks on the door and his mother opens it. She tells her that Jeff is home and invites them all inside. Later, as they sit in his backyard, Jeff explains that he can still see it because it still isn't done with him. If or when it kills Jay, it will come for him again. Jeff expected Jay to pass it on to someone else by now. He tells her that she should run somewhere far away and, because the creature is very slow, buy herself some time to think if he wants to give it to someone else. That night they drive somewhere north. Kelly and Greg are the only ones not sleeping and she asks him if his mom will be scared that he's left. He replies that she won't even know. Greg tells them that he's taking them to a place where his father used to take him hunting. Jay wakes up and Kelly asks her if she has thought about what Jeff told her to do. The kids arrive at the beach house the next day and instantly get cozy. Jay puts cans on the windows so she can hear if someone comes in. The following morning, Greg goes into the shed and finds his dad's gun. He teaches Jay how to shoot it. Later, they're sitting on the beach. Greg goes to take a leak and someone is seen coming towards them. Yara is in the water and yet she is seen approaching the group from the beach. No one sees her until she pulls on Jay's hair. She begs them to help her and Paul hits the thing with a chair. They all run toward the shed and the creature keeps walking after them. Paul got hurt by it. Jay takes the gun and begins to shoot at it and hits it, but it just comes back up, so she closes the door. It tries to open the door, then breaks a piece of it. Greg shows up at the opening and tells them that there is nothing out there, but Jay says that there is. He runs off, so Jay goes to check if he's okay when the creature appears at the opening transformed into a boy. Jay runs away from the shed and it follows as a different girl. She gets in the car and drives away from it, leaving the others behind as well. Suddenly, a truck pulls up in front of her and she crashes the car. Jay wakes up in the hospital and sees her mom and friends sleeping in her room. Her arm is broken and her head is injured. She hears someone in the hallway and gets scared that it might be it. The nurse passes by the room and doesn't stop. Greg wakes up and they look at each other. That night he stays with her in the hospital and they sleep together, so she passes it on to him. Sometime later, Greg is seen with another girl, suggesting that he passed it on to her. Paul is jealous of Greg for spending time with Jay as he's looking at them talking in her hospital room. Greg tells Jay that he hasn't seen it yet. She asks him if he believes her, and he says that he does, but that it just isn't following him too. A few more days later, Jay is in her above-ground pool and feels like something is there. Greg comes over to her house and finds her sister and friends at the door. He asks to go see her, but Kelly says that Jay isn't even opening the door to her room. They ask if he's seen anything, but when they notice that he still doesn't believe it, they ask him what he thinks happened that day at the beach. Greg leaves without answering their question. One night, Jay is in her room watching over Greg's house. She suddenly sees him walking down the street in his pajamas. He tries to open the door to his house, but because he can't do it, he breaks the window. Jay calls him as the creature enters his house through the window it broke. She runs over to his house and gets inside through the window as well. Jay hears knocking on Greg's door, goes up the stairs, and sees his mom there. She yells after him not to open the door, but when he does, the creature attacks him and kills him. Jay gets in her car, and as she drives away, the creature follows her as Greg. She goes to the woods to hide and falls asleep in her car. Jay wakes up the next day and hears music in the distance. She follows the music and gets to the beach, where she sees a few guys on a boat. Jay takes her clothes off and gets in the water. She arrives home discovering that Kelly and Yara are waiting for her on the porch. The girls all fall asleep in her room, and the next day they are woken up by a knock at the door. Jay opens the door for Paul, and when he sits down she tells him that it will come for her sooner or later. He tells her to pass it on like before and offers himself. She says no, so he confesses that he liked her too. Paul asks her why she picked Greg, and she replies that she thought he'd be okay because he wasn't scared. He tries to kiss her, saying that he wants to help, but she just turns away. Suddenly Paul gets an idea about how they could get rid of the creature. The four friends get into a car and drive toward a pool they used to go to when they were kids. As they pull out of the driveway, Jay sees the creature on the roof of her house. The group of kids get to the city pool and jump the fence. They walk inside and get to the water. Paul asks Jay how long will it take the creature to get there. She guesses that it might take hours. The kids begin to set up their plan to electrocute the creature in the pool by setting up all kinds of electric appliances next to the water. Jay gets into the pool and they wait for the creature. She dives inside and remains swimming around in the water. They wait for a long time for it to come. Suddenly, it appears in the room, but only Jay can see it. She doesn't want to tell the rest what it looks like. Paul tells her to point at it so they can know where it is. Jay tells them that it's moving toward her and that she wants to get out, but Paul says that she just needs to wait for it to get in. The thing begins throwing the appliances at her, but she, fortunately, doesn't get electrocuted. They're glad that their plan didn't work. The thing just keeps throwing things at Jay until she goes under the water. Paul goes to get the gun as Jay struggles to dodge it. She points at it for Paul to know where to aim, but she tells him not to get too close because it's right beside him. Paul shoots at it, but hurts Yara instead. Jay points again, and Paul shoots at its hand. Kelly grabs a towel and throws it over its head. Paul shoots it in the head, and it falls in the water. Before Jay can come out of the pool, it grabs onto her. Paul keeps shooting until he shoots it in the head again. Jai gets out of the water with finger marks on her ankle. Paul tells her to check if it's still down there. She crawls over to the pool and sees the water turning red with blood, but no dead body. Later that night, Jay and Paul sleep together. He asks her if she feels any different. She says that she doesn't and asks him the same question. Paul also says no. When Paul leaves, Jay stays with her mom, and it's revealed that the thing appeared at the pool looking like her father. The morning after, Paul is seen circling some prostitutes. Sometime later, Jay and Paul are seen in Yara's hospital room. She reads to them about death. Jay and Paul hold hands as they walk back home, and it looks as if someone is following behind them. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.